Haiti hardly ever features among the great revolutions of history. The French Revolution and the Glorious Revolution in Britain are usually the hallmarks when talking about the overthrow of political governments. However, between 1791 to 1803, enslaved Africans in Haiti started a rebellion and created their own nation, which would become the first black-led republic. In this video, we will take a journey through history and look into the only successful revolt by enslaved Africans in recorded human history. The year is 1789, and Haiti, known as Saint-Domingue at the time, was a French colony with a thriving economy built on the backs of enslaved Africans. Under French rule, Haiti was a flourishing economy that exported sugar, coffee, indigo, cotton, and tobacco to Europe and other parts of the world. The French saw Haiti as a gold mine and invested heavily in its agriculture and infrastructure. The island was transformed into a haven for trade and commerce, attracting traders and merchants from all over the world. The French built roads, bridges, and ports to facilitate transportation and trade, and invested in education and technology to promote growth and innovation. The economic boom in Haiti under French rule was driven by the labor of enslaved Africans who worked on sugar, coffee, and other plantations. They were brought over from West Africa and forced to work long hours in inhumane conditions. The French colonial government, aided by local elites, kept a tight grip on power and wealth, ensuring that the profits from the lucrative plantations flowed back to France. Slavery was the backbone of the Haitian economy, and the French were ruthless in their pursuit of profit. When the French Revolution broke out in 1789, there were 5 distinct sets of interest groups in the colony. There were white planters, who owned the plantations and the slaves, and petits blancs, who were artisans, shopkeepers, and teachers. Some of them also owned a few slaves. Many of the whites in Saint-Domingue began to support an independence movement that began when France imposed steep tariffs on the items imported into the colony. The planters were extremely disenchanted with France because they were forbidden to trade with any other nation. Furthermore, the white population of Saint-Domingue did not have any representation in France. Despite their calls for independence, both the planters and petits blancs remained committed to the institution of slavery. Saint-Domingue had an estimated population of 560,000, with 500,000 enslaved Africans, 32,000 European colonists, and 25,000 free black and mixed-race Haitians. The free population of Saint-Domingue consisted of a rich planter class and poorer free black people. Despite their freedom, the wealthy people of color of Saint-Domingue had no voting rights and faced discrimination. They had to wear identifying clothing and were forced to live in designated districts. The rejection of the monarchy and the subsequent efforts to create a more egalitarian society emboldened these marginalized colonial citizens to campaign for French citizenship and full property rights. In 1789, the Declaration of Rights of Man was passed in France, which stated that all citizens are equal in the eyes of the law. This should have been a game-changer for the people of Saint-Domingue, but unfortunately the governor refused to enact these new rights on the island. This caused outrage among the free black and mixed-race Haitians who began to demand equal rights. One member of Haiti's wealthy class, Vincent Oge, even led a movement to demand these equal rights. Unfortunately, he was captured and executed in public as a warning to others. However, instead of discouraging the revolutionaries, his death only fueled their passion for change. As the death rate on Caribbean plantations continued to rise and surpass the birth rate, Saint-Domingue began importing even more enslaved Africans from the continent to work on the island's plantations. This means that many of the workers on Hispaniola, which is the island that Haiti and the Dominican Republic share, at the time, were actually born in Africa. It was in this environment that the Haitian Revolution was born. Before the Great Revolution, Haiti had a history of slave rebellions. The slaves were never willing to submit to their status, and with their strength in numbers, 10 to 1, colonial officials and planters did all that was possible to control them. Despite the harshness and cruelty of Saint-Domingue slavery, there were slave rebellions before 1791. It is widely accepted that enslaved Africans were much harder to control and provided much more resistance than those born and raised in colonies. As such, it is fitting that a voodoo ceremony in Bois Cayman was the spark to trigger the beginning of the revolution. Voodoo was perhaps the one uniting factor among enslaved Africans that escaped the control of their masters. The practice of voodoo has served as a platform for resistance throughout Haitian history. It served Haitians both as a form of psychological liberation as well as a preservation of their African identity and culture separate from their enslavement. Due to the years of anti-white sentiment built up among the black populace, the revolt began with high levels of violence. Armies of enslaved Africans went from district to district, burning plantations and killing Europeans. These armies were all rival factions that had their own leaders and allegiances. Spanish forces in Saint-Domingue, present-day Dominican Republic, and the British both had a hand in arming and supporting the slave insurrection as they were at war against France. The Haitian Revolution was led by a variety of figures, including Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe. However, it was Toussaint Louverture who emerged as the central figure of the revolution, with his tactical genius, strategic mind, and leadership skills. Toussaint Louverture was born a slave in Saint-Domingue in 1743. Despite his humble beginnings, he became one of the most powerful and respected figures in Haitian history. Louverture was an intelligent man who spoke several languages, including French and Creole. He was also a skilled military strategist and tactician with a deep understanding of guerrilla warfare. Louverture began his involvement in the revolution in 1791 when he joined the slave rebellion against the French plantation owners. He quickly rose to prominence, leading the rebels to several victories against the French forces. Louverture's leadership and military prowess were critical to the success of the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution was not won in a single battle or engagement, but was a series of conflicts that spanned over a decade. The Haitians faced a formidable opponent in the French military, which was among the best trained and most well-equipped armies in the world at the time. The French had also established a complex system of control in Saint-Domingue, which made it difficult for the Haitians to gain a foothold. However, the Haitians were determined to win their freedom and were willing to fight for it. They used guerrilla tactics to disrupt French supply lines, raid plantations, and attack French outposts. They also used their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage, launching surprise attacks and ambushes on the French forces. One of the most famous battles of the Haitian Revolution was the Battle of Vertières. This battle, fought on November 18, 1803, was the decisive engagement of the revolution. The Haitians, led by Jean-Jacques Dessalines, launched a surprise attack on the French forces, who were under the command of General Rochambeau. The Haitians outnumbered the French by more than 2-1, and they used their superior numbers to their advantage. They launched a fierce assault on the French positions, overwhelming the defenders with a barrage of gunfire and bayonet charges. The French fought valiantly, but they were no match for the Haitian forces. After a grueling battle that lasted several hours, the French were forced to retreat. The Battle of Vertières was a crushing defeat for the French and marked the end of their attempts to retake Saint-Domingue. The Haitians had won their freedom and were on their way to proclaiming independence. There were several factors that contributed to their success. First and foremost, the Haitians were fighting for their freedom, which gave them a powerful motivation to succeed. They were also able to exploit the weaknesses of the French military, using their knowledge of the terrain and their guerrilla tactics to their advantage. But perhaps the most significant factor in the Haitian Revolution was the leadership of Toussaint Louverture and other Haitian generals. Louverture was a masterful strategist who was able to outmaneuver the French at every turn. He also had a deep understanding of the psychology of his troops and was able to inspire them to fight with great courage and determination. The Haitians also benefited from divisions among the French. The French government was in turmoil during the Revolution, with different factions vying for power. This made it difficult for the French to mount a cohesive response to the Haitian rebels, and it allowed the Haitians to gain the upper hand in many engagements. By 1803, Louverture had defeated all his political rivals and conquered the entire island of Hispaniola. He established a paid labor force to ensure that the plantations remained productive and that workers could be compensated for their output. He then issued a constitution for Saint-Domingue that decreed that he would be governor for life, declared Catholicism the official state religion, and called for black autonomy and a sovereign black state. Unfortunately, This was not accepted by all, as it seemed no different from the authoritarian rule the enslaved Africans of Haiti had fought to escape. It also presented Louverture as a liberal leader moving to authoritarianism at the first possible opportunity, which makes him comparable to the likes of Robert Mugabe, Paul Biya, Muammar Gaddafi, and a plethora of other African heads of state that overstayed their welcome in political power and subsequently restricted civil liberties and freedoms. Unfortunately for Louverture, France became more hostile to Saint-Domingue due to the emergence of Napoleon and his imperial ambitions, coupled with the ruler's uneasiness with a black contemporary in France's richest colony. To fund his military campaigns, Napoleon re-established slavery in the Caribbean colonies. He sent an expedition to subjugate Haiti and detain its military officers. The expedition was led by his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, as well as mixed-race officers that Louverture had exiled from Hispaniola. After months of protracted violence, the French and the generals of Saint-Domingue came to an uneasy peace, signing a ceasefire agreement. Thereafter, Louverture was betrayed by his generals, Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Brunet, and confined by the French. He was then deported to France and died while in prison. Once Dessalines realized that France planned to reinstate slavery in Saint-Domingue, he led a campaign against the French forces. The French had been ravaged by yellow fever, and Leclerc died of the disease. Dessalines led his armies to victory after victory, culminating in the French defeat, which marked the end of the revolution. Upon taking control, General Dessalines declared the state of Haiti's independence from France in 1804. Haiti's independence made Haiti the world's oldest black republic and the first independent nation in Latin America and the Caribbean. Shortly after this declaration, Dessalines proclaimed himself emperor and authorized the Imperial Constitution of 1805. This constitution called for freedom of religion. Catholicism would no longer be the official state religion. Additionally, all citizens of Haiti, regardless of skin color, were to be known as black. Thirdly, it called for the indefinite abolition of slavery. Furthermore, no white men were allowed to own property on Haitian soil. The Haitian Revolution was a reminder that the human spirit is indomitable, that freedom is a right that cannot be taken away, and that justice will ultimately prevail. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can still shine through, and that a better world is possible if we have the courage to fight for it. It also gives a glimpse into African history and the resilience of Africans. Though outmatched, they put a fight in their numbers and were able to secure the first Black Republic. Their revolution would be the first of many in other black colonies controlled by the British and Spanish forces. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe.